Now we're going to send it down to Natasha, Staniszewski, and Cory Sarich for tonight's Flames TV postgame show, presented by Original 16.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Flames TV live post-game show. Cory Sarich is here to help me break this one down, which I don't know if this is going to be a fun one to break down because this game took a real turn after that second period. The Flames, coming off that big high after beating Vancouver on New Year's Eve, wanting to keep that same energy up, wanting to keep the intensity up, and it just did not happen tonight.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those cliche games again where it just wasn't the best first period for the Calgary Flames. They got out of it 1-1 tonight, but the energy just didn't seem to be there like the other night. I thought in the second period, emotions were getting high again. Nazem Kadri was involved. He was in the middle of everything out there. Him and Liam O'Brien got tangled up, and usually that leads to some fireworks.
Right.
And then again, ultimately, this game just got away from them a little bit right at the start of the third period. And that's the consistency that I think coach has been searching for within their game. And they've done a really great job at home this year. For the most part, their starts have been very good. They've been able to be consistent and really stick to the details throughout the whole game. But again, this one got away from them, and that third period just is one they're going to have to take a little bit of a look at.
You asked the question this morning to Coach Ryan Huska what he wants the team to work on in 2025, and he said two things: be good defensively, really limit the amount of shots, and like you said, consistency. And I don't think he'll be very happy with either of those things after this game.
Yeah, it's they won't like the chances that they gave up.
No.
There's a few goals, that were deserved by the Utah Hockey Club, but again, there's a couple that they're going to want back. And then
Sure.
As far as consistency, I just think they've done a really great job at home so far this year. I thought that more of that's been lacked on the road, but tonight there was just a few hiccups here and there.
Yeah, a surprising finish to this one. They looked in complete control after the second. Let's show you how this one all went down. We will pick it up in the first period. Of course, Utah pressing here. It's Ian Cole who sort of bounces the puck across to Lawson Krause, who whips it past Dan Vladar to open the scoring.
Yeah, he had really nice hands on this one. Being able to pick this thing out of the air, that requires a little bit of luck, but he's got some open net and he fires it right away, and not much that Dan Vladar could do about that one.
And then Utah took a too many men penalty at the end of the period. It's Nazem Kadri with the shot, and Blake Coleman out front bangs it in for his 9th of the season. A power play goal to boot, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, and this is a bright spot for the Calgary Flames, I thought, and we talked about it earlier. Really great puck movement, good puck pursuit. They were in control the whole time, right from the offensive zone draw, and they capitalized. And I just thought that the Flames game was going to take off from this point.
It was definitely a more action-packed second period for sure. Here's Utah on the power play. Michael Backlund with no stick. Dylan Gunther finds Devin Cooley at the side of the net. They definitely took advantage of that no stick situation, and it's 2-1.
Yeah, disjointed penalty kill at the very end. No one seemed to really be in position. That's what happens when one of your teammates loses a stick. It's often difficult to adjust to, and great puck movement here by Utah. And I didn't agree with them being on this power play, and we'll maybe talk about that
Right.
a little bit later, Natasha.
Absolutely. Okay. But the Flames bounce back here just $1.07 later. It's Connor Zary driving hard to the net, and it pays off. He'll get his own rebound just like that. That's his 10th of the season, and we're even at 2.
And it's been great to see. I think he's got 4 in his last 8 games. This one goes in. It's a little bit of a lucky bounce. It comes back out, clips his skate, and goes through 5-hole. But again, he's been all around it this year. He's been generating those chances. I saw a lot of them again tonight, making great plays, and it's nice to see him finally get rewarded for his efforts.
And then near the end of the third period, the Flames forechecking. Matt Coronado comes out of the corner with it, and he sets up Braden Bahal in his 100th NHL game.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. His parents are in the stands tonight, and does a really nice job of finishing this. He's got a lot of net to shoot at. Got to give Matt Coronado a lot of credit here. Great puck pursuit. Coleman helping along with that. Finds the man. D-men are joining in and chipping in. Always love to see that.
So it looked pretty good for the Flames, but Utah came out firing just 37 seconds in. Ole Mata takes the shot. Captain Clayton Keller tips it in.
Yeah, and there was a few of these for the Utah Hockey Club tonight. D-man, I'm not sure if he's purposely looking for Keller there, but Keller shows his stick going to the net. It's a great redirect. We saw one by Logan Cooley earlier on the power play goal, and I'm not sure if we're going to see another one here or not, but again, great presence by some of those young I don't know. I was going to try to say
Utah
it.
hockey clubbers?
UCHs. Yeah, clubbers around the net. So
So it was 3-3, and less than 2 minutes later, the Flames are caught on a line change here. Nick Bukestad feeds Lawson Krause, and I believe his shot goes off Mackenzie Weegar's stick.
yeah, we'll see on this angle here.
Yeah.
Dan Vladar, nothing he can do on this goal. Mackenzie Weegar probably a little bit frustrated. He's got to stick his stick in there. You have to take the chance that that is probably going to be deflected up above. There's the odd time that you'd let that shot go through, but when it's basically a dead nut breakaway, you got to stick your stick in there, and it's just an unfortunate bounce for the Flames.
And then here's what sealed the deal. For Utah with the net empty, Kevin Stenlund made it 5-3 for the hockey club. And that is how this one finished. So the Flames take the loss, and like I said, just felt like a surprising loss considering how well things went in the second period, and they come out in the third, and just before you know it, you're down by 1.
Yeah, and that third period went by very quick. It was 4-3 after the first couple minutes of that period. I thought at the end, even with the net pulled, that the Flames might be able to gain some traction, but got to give the hockey club some credit. They did a really nice job, and they kept the Flames. They made them kind of be off balance. They were disjointed and just couldn't get any traction at the end of the game.
Okay, I know you want to talk about Nazem Kadri and some stuff that happened in this one. We will get to that in a moment. But first, Kadri is in the dressing room, so let's hear from him first. Oh, I'm sorry, Andersson, Rasmus Andersson. Okay, we'll still talk about Kadri later.
Sounds good.
Let's hear from Rasmus Andersson.
As we spent the morning talking about identity and what this team needs to do to be successful, what did you not do tonight?
I just thought we got off our game, especially in the third, and stretches we were there, stretches we weren't, and cost us today. And just not a good enough third period.
Do you attribute the puck management? It seemed like lots of giveaways. How do you think the team actually did tonight?
Yeah, I mean, not good enough. It was just sloppy out there, honestly, and not good enough. Too many turnovers, and they have a lot of skill up front, and you give them time and space, and they're going to score, and they did. And kind of left Vlade out to dry in the third. So as I said, just not good enough in the third.
So, I mean, it would look like it was sort of those first 2.5 minutes, but you weren't even happy with sort of the way you guys responded to that.
As I said, I thought it was stretches in the game. We were good, and stretches we weren't good, and I mean, they scored first shift in the third, and kind of a weird balance. I'm looking around where the puck is, and all of a sudden it's a high tip and goal, and then I think the next one was a bad change and a breakaway, and then the response. Sure, we could have put some more pucks there, but they did a good job of simplifying once they were up, and we just didn't really get to the net.
Razzie, when you don't get a lot of favorable calls, and we can talk about momentum or right or wrong on those calls, but how tough is it for your group to sort of park that, or is that an issue?
I mean, I don't know how many power play we ended up with, 3-4 maybe. Sure, could have been maybe 1 or 2 more, and they could have had another one too, but we scored 1, but the other power plays just wasn't good enough, and we had our looks in the third. We had some power plays, but we just couldn't get in, and then I felt like once we were in, they just got a hold of it, and it was all the way back again, and so just not dangerous enough at the right time.
Okay, thanks, Russ.
All right.
Thanks, Russ. Please.
And some of the calls more often than not lately. And I mean, you saw some things with Kadri that you wanted to chat about further to illustrate that point.
Yeah, there was the second period is kind of when things got into the refs' hands tonight. And again, you're not going to blame the game on them totally, but they did have an effect. And they asked Rasmus Andersson, like, can you park that? And it's not an easy thing to do as a player. Some of that sticks in you, but it's your job. And like to illustrate the example, they missed a call on Kadri here early, and then I didn't like this call at the end of the play where I thought he's just making a play on a guy that's trying to get the puck. This results in a Utah power play, a Utah goal. But there was a few more of those in the second period that, you know what, as a hockey player, you've got to just put it past you and move on. I thought Nazem Kadri did a good job of engaging. He had a really spirited shift with Liam O'Brien. They were bumping into each other. I think Braden Bahal gets involved. You hope that you can use that energy the right way, to use it as a spark and get your team going, even if there's a bad call by the ref, anything like that. And I actually didn't mind the job that the Flames did in the second period. I thought they did a pretty good job of shelving everything, moving on, just trying to get this game to where they wanted it to be, and it looked really good at the end of the second period.
Kadri never backs down from a fight. He's always so feisty. I love that. We were talking before previous games about being on the wrong end of calls, and Coach Ryan Huska said after that Ottawa game that maybe he needs to engage with the refs a little bit differently, and I wonder if he might be considering that again.
Yeah, maybe he needs to get a little more fiery back there. Maybe he's a little bit too passive. I don't know if that has any effect on the game. Nazem Kadri, we're going to hear from him right away, but just before we break to that, it was 10-minute misconduct for him tonight after losing his cool for a little bit in that second period. So you never like to see that, but sometimes your spirit, pushes you over the edge, and that's the end result. So Huska might fare the same way if he gets too animated behind the bench, and you don't want to put your team down. So it's a very fine line to walk.
For sure. Okay, let's hear from Nazem Kadri.
Well, maybe it looked from our vantage point, ask you about it, but just the frustration level that maybe came with things that happen in a game, like no calls, and we saw you indicating there's some blood on the ice, and just the idea of, that shift or so that didn't go your way.
Yeah, I mean, it's adversity. It's kind of, expected in every single hockey game. Obviously, there's different forms of it. We got to do a better job of fighting through that. I mean, I think in the second period, we gave ourselves an opportunity to win the game in the third, and, just came out a little flat to start the third period, so we'll learn from that.
Was it a bit of a slew foot from O'Brien off the face-off?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think that's how I fell. I probably wouldn't just fall on purpose, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Then I got a 10-minute misconduct for talking. I got 2 minutes for hitting. I'm not quite sure what was going on out there, but just I guess you got to fight through
it. What did you see kind of ultimately as being the difference in the game?
Started the third period. They came out, they scored a couple of goals, got us on our heels, and we couldn't really, recover from that. I think those are, typically areas that we're pretty sharp in, and that's a little out of character for us. So again, we'll just kind of reset and get a big win on Saturday.
But the puck management seemed like it was a little bit off all night. Do you feel that was the case? Or?
Yeah, I mean, maybe a touch. Execution could have been a little sharper, but to be honest with you, I'm not sure we gave them a whole lot. They're a really opportunistic team with a lot of talent up front. So, they took advantage of some mistakes, and, they're a good possession team, and, we're able to find the back of the net a couple times in the third, which was the difference.
Is it too early for us to be talking about 4-point games against teams that you're close to? And is it good for a team that's put itself right in the fight to be looking at playoff implications at this point, or do you need to save that for later?
We always do. I mean, you're in the hunt. You want to be in the hunt. We've given ourselves a great opportunity, but that being said, obviously there's a lot of work to be done, right? I mean, it is only January. Got a couple big months in front of us, but I've loved the way we've battled and competed every single night. A few obviously we could sharpen up the execution, but the effort's there, and we've been a hard team to play against for the most part of the year.
Can I just ask you in your words what you think the identity of this team is?
Gritty, relentless, competitive. So I think those kind of tie into who we are, and obviously we systematically I think we're typically pretty sharp, and we're a hard team to play against, which we've. I'm sure we've gotten a wrap of that throughout the first few months of the season.
Do you feel like you've come a long way since you got to Calgary in terms of building that identity?
Definitely. I mean, I think there's obviously some, there's stretches. Sports it's funny. I mean, confidence fluctuates. Sometimes you find yourself looking in the mirror and trying to figure out what's going on, and other times you're feeling great. So, it's just one of those things. I think we've done a good job at chipping away, and building the building blocks, and I think we've done a great job this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, let's move to something a little bit more positive, and that would be Connor Zary, who had a good game tonight. He had a good game against Vancouver. He has goals in back-to-back games now. Excuse me, and he is noticeable all the time, just driving, crashing the net, and making things happen out there.
Yeah, and he's got a really, really nice set of hands, which I don't think people you probably realized it coming out of junior, and then that transition into pro, you maybe don't get to see it quite as often, but he gets rewarded here for getting to the net. It's a great play by his whole line, and I've actually felt that this line has started to have a little bit more chemistry. I know the chances haven't gone in for Sharangovich yet, but at least one guy on the line is being rewarded, and it's Connor Zary. We see him getting his finger.
Yeah.
I don't know, it looked like he might have almost got stepped on here. It was kind of a scary moment. He had to head off to the bench, but turns out he was right back into the game, and this is, again, him driving hard to the net, going to the dirty spots, and gets a bit of a lucky one here tonight. But he could have had a couple more. I don't know if we're going to get to see more highlights. He had some slot chances. He had all sorts of opportunities. And it's just kind of everything you see around this line, it runs through number 47 right now.
I think you're right. The chemistry is definitely starting to show itself a little bit more. I spoke to Jacob Helche this morning, and I know that he's hungry to get that next goal. He's been in around it as well. So the chances are there for this line, and you just hope you start to see a few more goals coming out of the chances.
Yeah, and you've got to, well, Zary's been getting rewarded a little bit more, which is good to see. It'd be nice to see Sharangovich starting to hit the back of the net. But again, it takes time. Lines like this that just get thrown together, I think they've only been playing together since not even mid-December. Like, it's just been a fresh couple of weeks. So give it some time, and if you still are getting results like they have been and you're seeing improvement, I think you stick with it.
Okay. Blake Coleman had the goal at the end of the first period on the power play to tie things up. Here he is now in the Flames dressing room.
For you, is it as simple as just a tough start to the third, or was there much more there?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty back and forth game. Yeah, I think take the air out of your game when you give up that goal quick in the third. But at that point we're still in a tie game, and just kind of just had that lull, and they made us pay, and we couldn't get it back. But things to like and things to improve on.
Was there frustration? Did that affect the game? I know it happens in every game. You don't get the calls you want, but did that affect, or was that not an underlying factor?
Well, there was frustration for sure. I mean, you trade one of our best players for a guy that we don't mind keeping in the game, and I think you don't generally see that happen, but it is what it is, and they made the call, and and at that point it's a 2-2 game. We go out and score, so it's not super relevant to the outcome, but there was some frustration, and we got to be you just got to tiptoe that line of having some passion versus letting things get to you a little too much, and at the end of the day they made one more play than we did.
New Year's Eve be a better example of you guys managing that properly.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar. The line's so hard to walk. It's easy to go on either side of it, but I'd rather have 20 pissed off guys that care than 20 guys that are tucking their tail between their legs and not involved in the game.
What deviated in the third period in terms of the identity that you guys usually exhibit throughout the third periods but didn't tonight?
Well, just too much time and space. We were a little sluggish on our reads, and they just had a little more jump to start the third, and our line gives up the first one, and pretty uncharacteristic for us, and then we give up another quick one. So that won't be the norm, but it cost us tonight.
We're not even halfway through the season, so this may be way too early, but yes, League 5, Vancouver, real class, but Utah's right on your tail. Are you guys paying attention to those teams being around you?
Yeah, I mean, you got every finger on the pulse. It's too early to call it a playoff chase at this point, but you got to keep yourself in that pack and competitive down the stretch to give yourself a chance to be in what really becomes the race down the stretch. For me, that's probably after the deadline you really start looking at that stuff. But for now, if you don't win games and don't beat teams, it was a 4-point night, and so was the New Year's Eve game. So you got to be aware of those types of things. But at the end of the day, at this stage of the season, you're still trying to improve and get your team better for that time down the stretch when you'll start to see separation in the league when it gets down to it. The best teams start to win games when it matters.
Okay, thanks for this. Thanks.
Coach. Cheers to another season of great times and great taste. Celebrate things done well. Original 16, official beer sponsor of the Calgary Flames. Must be legal drinking age.
right, we are still waiting to hear from Coach Ryan Huska. We will go to him as soon as we have him. But we're trying to keep things positive around here, so let's talk about Matt Coronado, who stood out tonight. He had 6 shots, did a nice job setting up Braden Pahal on his goal, and just another one of those guys that you want to see starting to find the back of the net.
Yeah, and I think it's important that we are talking about the young guys around here. I think that's been part of this kind of retooling, or whatever you want to call it around here, is bringing in these young guys, getting them experience, along with a good mix of veterans. Try to have it competitive. It's like trying to mix all the ingredients together. And I think we've seen a really nice job from Matt Coronado. His growth from last year to this year is exponential. And for me, it's just all confidence. Like the plays that he makes out on the ice, his stick handling, his shooting, it's all starting to translate. Like he's making really nice plays with the puck. He's not fumbling the puck. I don't know how many times last year it's just the nerves that are involved where he goes to make the right play, but it doesn't happen. This year it is. His shot is lethal. He's finding out when's the right time to release that shot, whether he needs to be quicker, whether he needs to delay. But the biggest growth for him that I've seen, and maybe from playing with Coleman and Backlund, is his tenacity, his puck pursuit, and he does such a good job defensively. Like, you got to give him credit. But second year in the league, and he's in the tops on the plus minus on this team, and he's just gone about his business the right way, and I love to see guys get rewarded for playing the game at both ends of the rink.
Yeah, I think you make a very good point about patience. You know, these guys come up and everyone is so excited for them to produce immediately, but it does take time to feel comfortable.
Yeah, and you got to forget, like, I know when I was coming into the league, there was the model that these guys should all get tenure in the AHL and learn from the pros down there and cut your teeth. And for these young guys that are expected just to jump in, I know they're way better prepared than we were. It's still, it doesn't happen easily for everyone. So after watching Matt play last year and watching his growth this year, I'm really proud of what he's done so far. It's really great to see.
Okay, Coach is ready. Let's hear what Ryan Huska has to say.
Was that one as simple as sort of those first 2.5 minutes of the third period? What are the difference?
I thought it was the whole third period, to be quite honest with you. I thought our game was coming in the second period, and you had a feeling like we were going to keep that going. But we had a detail issue on the first shift where they scored that first goal, and then a change issue on the second one. And I didn't feel like we had a lot of pushback from there.
Did you feel like it was the effort that dipped, or is it just some missed assignments, missed execution down the stretch that was really kind of the difference?
The first 2 goals were execution, for sure. And I don't think after they win it, I don't think we had a lot of pushback from there.
Do you have any thoughts on Nazem Kadri and the emotional part of the game that he got caught up in?
Hey, you don't like to lose him. I don't like that trade-off for sure. I mean, Naz is a guy that we lean on in all those different situations, and to lose him for 10 minutes. But I'll take that Naz any day of the week. It doesn't happen often. I think this is my first time that I remember during his time here that he's been given a 10-minute misconduct. So it doesn't happen often, and Naz is a passionate player, and I would take that any day of the week from him.
And when he came here, we all kind of thought we were getting a guy who's always on the line emotionally. We haven't seen it that much over the years. That's just a product of age, do you think?
Probably. I mean, you grow up a little bit, and I think when you watch Naz play the game, like he's still fiery. Like, he gave out some hits tonight, and he took some at the same time. But I think he probably does have a pretty good understanding of when to cross it and when not to cross it. Like I said, I think that's the first time since he's been here. So I would take competitive Naz any day.
I feel like there was much Dan Vladar could have done on the goals tonight. Just how did you feel about this?
I didn't like the first one. Other than that, not too much he could do. Okay, thank you guys.
11 o'clock.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Coach. I don't think Nazem Kadri needs to change any part of his game out there.
No, I think he's got a nice, healthy balance. I mean, early in his career, it was maybe over the line way too often.
For sure.
And, he picks his spots now, and he's contributed on offense, contributes on defense, and it's been a very consistent Nazem Kadri the last couple of years here in Calgary.
All right, so a tough one here for the Flames as they go down to the Utah Hockey Club. Hopefully we see a rebound here, some pushback in this next one as they get set to host the Nashville Predators on Saturday night. Thanks for watching the live Flames TV post-game show brought to you by Original 16.